Ladies and gentlemen, Jazz Borganzo, what's next? On this Saturday morning, uh, this probably hasn't gotten, I won't say any media or very little media, unless you are watching CNN or MSNBC, and of course, you are called a hater. Um, this would probably fit into their narrative. Let's take a look. This comes out of Breitbart. Governor Kristi Noem sends transgender athletes bill back to legislature for changes. Changes, okay? South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem returning bill designed to prevent real men, and let's be real here, excuse me, real men from competing in women's sports back to her state legislature for Friday for changes. Noem cited in a public letter changes she is requesting from the bill, specifying that they are revisions of style and form. The changes include removing collegiate athletes from the bill, thereby limiting its application to K through 12 athletics, and modifying language about civil liability and performance enhancing drugs. The bill, House Bill 1217, titled Promote Continued Fairness in Women's Sports, it doesn't roll off the tongue, had passed the South Dakota Senate on March 8th. Upon its passage, Noem, whose name has been floated around as a possible 2024 presidential contender, with her hands-off approach regarding Corona, gained prominence in the Republican Party, recently announced on social media she was excited to sign the bill. And this was International Women's Day. In South Dakota, we're celebrating International Women's Day by defending women's sports. I'm excited to sign the bill very soon. Critics of Noem have perceived her rejection of the bill in its current state as backtracking or backpedaling in an attempt to appease pressure from outside entities. Terry Schelling, president of American Principles Project Foundation, implied Noem faced pressure from the state Chamber of Commerce, writing on social media, "If you can't stand up to the Chamber of Commerce, how the hell are you?" Moments like this are important. They tell you the character of the person and whether or not they are presidential. If you can't stand up to the Chamber of Commerce, how the hell will you stand up to China? That was Terry Schelling's on on their Twitter feed. The South Dakota Chamber of Commerce President David Owen confirmed to the Federalist that business groups were indeed pressuring the governor about the bill and threatening boycotts should it become law. I say the hell with them. This is more important. Just me. Quote, employers view the workforce as a place of inclusion. Ah, the magic word. Inclusion, diversity, those magic buzzwords, of the left. Owen told the outlet, they've made it clear to us they won't support groups that help pass laws that blindly discriminate in certain areas. This is not blindly discriminating. These are called facts. You don't allow men to compete in women's sports. Period. In her letter on Friday, Noem said that the studying of the bill and consulting with legal experts over several days, she has become, quote, concerned that the bill's vague and overly broad language could have significant and unintended consequences. If you make it very clear regarding that men, if you want to use the term biological men, it's stupid, it's asinine. If you want to use biological men should not be able to compete in biological women's sports, there's nothing vague about it. There's nothing broad about it. That is clear cut. If you are born a male, if you are a man, you are not to compete in women's sports. Title IX, 64 Civil Rights Act. These are the things, the reason why they protect women's sports and women competitiveness in general. It's amazing that you have to have states have to have pass specific bills like RFRA, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, the acronym, to protect religious uh, beliefs. In this case, when you have to pass specific laws to protect what is scientific, what is factual, what is biological, correct, what is faith-based, correct. It's insanity. It's utter insanity. But just me. Continue. Noem argued that the bill would cause collegiate athletes in our state to suffer because the national governing bodies, quote unquote, most notably the National College Athletic Association, NCAA, would require compliance with their organization's policies that conflict with those of House Bill 1217. Quote, South Dakota has shown that our student athletes can compete with anyone in the country. But competing on the national stage means compliance with national governing bodies that oversee collegiate athletics. I still don't understand what one has. While I certainly do not always agree with the actions of these sanctioning bodies take, I understand that collegiate athletics require such a system. A 50-state patchwork is not workable. And I'll just go down to the bottom. She concluded, overall, the style and form clarification protect women's sports while also showing empathy for youth struggling with what they understand to be, quote, their gender identity. Noem says she supports the bill and intends to sign it once the changes she has requested are made. All right. Basically, she's looking for clarification. She's looking for clarification. Basically, she's trying to get the wordings out to basically make it very specific, clear as far as what's going on. But, and I'm not placing this squarely blame on Governor Noem, but if she looked at other states with similar bills, as in Texas, as in Mississippi, if she looked at other states with similar bills mirroring those bills, this would be clear cut. Now, if you're adding additional wording, additional language that makes it broad as she sees it, then the reason why she's not backpedaling, but she's taking a step back, say, hey, you know what? To me, the overall bill, I agree with. Give me clarification. Be specific. You know, don't go all broad on me. So that's where she's looking at it. Others who look at this bill say, hey, there's nothing wrong with the bill. It states specifically regarding collegiate, regarding high school and elementary. What's the deal? Why is there a problem? So this is where South Dakota stands at the moment. And it shouldn't be this way because we're talking March 8th. Today's the 20th. What has the legislature been doing? Either the legislature says, hey, we're standing by our bill. We've got overwhelming defense of this. We've got bipartisanship in regards to this. Sign it. And if she says, if there are 2 or 3 words that she doesn't like about it, okay, and they're kind of like meh or broad or vague, remove it. But as long as it doesn't take away the spirit of the bill, basically makes it very clear. Men are men, women are women, and if there is an issue regarding this, that is a mental issue and that needs to be dealt with as such, which means professional. But hopefully this bill gets signed soon and other states follow. And with that being said, I'm Jazz Broganzo. This is what's next. If you like what you saw here today, please leave a comment below. Like it, share it, hit that subscription button, slam that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And we'll catch you later. Peace.